I just want to point out something. When I lost my mind on my live stream last night after they announced X-Men, Fantastic Four, Blade, and I started running, probably noticed that my pants kind of curled up on me and got super high up. It looked like I was wearing underwear. I can assure you, it was not underwear. Nor was it. What is up, Flick fans and really superhero fans? Today we are talking about all of the movies confirmed, announced, talked about yesterday during the Hall H panel for Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There are some very interesting things in development. Now, one thing I want to point out before we get into this most anticipated list, there were some things that were talked about towards the end of that panel, such as a Fantastic Four, an X-Men, and even, according to Kevin Feige, a Blade movie, right? That some people may think is part of Phase 4, but Kevin Feige came out and said after the panel, Blade, along with Fantastic Four, and all of the movies that were not talked about in depth are not Phase 4. Everything announced is Phase 4, and as far as we know, speculation and kind of what we have heard, that is all we are getting for that phase, but that phase is only a 2-year span, guys. We're getting a lot of content, and today, during this video, I'm going to count down my most anticipated movies and television shows on the Disney streaming platform of Phase 4, and conveniently, there are 10, so technically this is a top 10 video. Oh yeah. Once again, doing this, counting them down, it's like trying to decide which child I love more. I don't have children, but I assume when I have children, I'll love them all equally. All of these movies and the streaming shows, all of these characters in general, I love them all. So putting one at number 10 is going to break my heart entirely. What I want to see from you guys is your lists in the comments. Which movies are you looking forward to the most, and or streaming platform shows, and which announcement last night during the panel got you super excited? You can go back, check out my live stream and my video where I talked about Avengers officially beating Avatar at the box office to become the #1 film of all time. Okay, all of that out of the way, let's get into this list. And coming in at the main bottom of this list, unfortunately, is WandaVision. Once again, just because it's number 10, I'm still thoroughly excited for this show. I can't wait to see what route and direction they go. But that's the thing for me. With this show, I think we know less than we do with all of these other shows. Less new things, right? We know Scarlet Witch is coming back. We know Vision's coming back. I want to know what time period they are in. Now, they may have announced that during the panel. Obviously, I missed it if they did. And I want to know what the goal of that show is. Now, they did say that that show would end up tying into Doctor Strange, going into the multiverse, and we'll hit on that here in just a bit. And we know Scarlet Witch is going to pop up in that movie, but in terms of how this show ties in, I'm not 100% sure how they're going to do it, and because of that, I'm going to say this is my least anticipated thing coming out in Phase 4 because I still have a few plot-related questions. Once I get those, maybe if they announce a few more things, I could get more excited. This could move up. For right now, it's number 10, but once again, it hurts my heart to say that. Then we have Hawkeye, and here's one thing that put Hawkeye in my number 9 spot as opposed to my number 10, because Hawkeye, while he's a very good character, he's been fleshed out more lately than he was in the beginning. You know, he's Hawkeye. It's like comparing him to all of these other things. These are massive movies coming out in the next 2 or 3 years. So because of that, I have to put Hawkeye a little bit lower on my list because we've seen him now. I am excited to implement some more action into this character's backstory, story, whatever they're going to give us in this series, and then introducing Kate Bishop really put that on the number 9 spot because Kate Bishop is an awesome character. I think she eventually will take the mantle of Hawkeye, and Jeremy Renner will somehow move out of this role, but this could be a really good opportunity to showcase Hawkeye in action, and they did somewhat confirm that it will hit on the Ronin storyline a bit more as well. I'm interested to see what kind of show this is, and the tone is going to be important here. If it is a bit darker, a bit more action-packed, and it does have that trainer-trainee mentality, I'm really excited for it. Number 9 on my list. Let's move on to number 8. And coming in at number 8 is Black Widow, the movie. Now, why is Black Widow at number 8? There are some really cool things announced here. Taskmaster gets me beyond excited, and I don't know if you guys saw it. Some concept art just dropped on Twitter, and look at that picture of Taskmaster. Look him up. Google search him if you don't know who this is as a villain. Could be super interesting. And then you have the cast. Rachel Weisz, Florence Pugh, David Harbour. What a cast this is. So Austin, why is it so far down on this list? Well, with all of these other massive properties and just new things, Black Widow is a character that we've seen plenty from before, although I am interested to see more of her and what was happening during this time period. They did come out and announce that this would take place after Captain America Civil War, and it will tackle the events of Budapest, a story that has been talked about for so long in the MCU. So many great things happening with Black Widow. Once again, it is this low because there are more things that interest me personally, but who knows, Black Widow could come out and blow me away, and David Harbour, one of my favorite actors in Hollywood. I'm glad he got a second chance after Hellboy, because that wasn't good. Then we have Marvel's What If, and you may be wondering, if you didn't hear the announcement, what the heck is What If? Well, first of all, it will be narrated by an incredible character actor, Jeffrey Wright, who will be playing the Watcher, a monumental character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, well, in Marvel Comics in general, but the fact that they're bringing him in here just to narrate this show is awesome. But this is going to be a combination of stories centered around events that have happened in the MCU, except not those specific events. What if, ... those events happened differently? What if Peggy Carter became Captain America instead of Steve Rogers? What if Iron Man never made it out of the cave? So many interesting things that could happen in this, from what I know, animated show coming out on the streaming platform. So it's not going to be live action. It will be very different from what Marvel Studios has done before, but I'm interested. And the fact that they're getting most of the actors back to portray their roles in a very different light is cool. The intrigue of this show is what places it this high up on this list. I want to know more. Maybe when I know more, once again, as I'm going to say for all of these, it could move up, but this is one of those that gets me very excited as a Marvel fan. Then we have Loki, another show on the Disney streaming platform. A lot of television we're going to consume, but I'm going to consider these, I'm sure, just longer movies in the MCU. And this is not telling the story of the Loki that died in Avengers Infinity War. This is telling the story of the Loki that disappeared in Avengers Endgame, that 2012 version. So it is the version that did not necessarily learn from his mistakes in the first Avengers. It is the version that did not come around and somewhat go out a hero in Avengers Infinity War. That's what gets me about this show. Apparently, Loki will be, if not traveling through time, traveling through different dimensions. There are so many possibilities with where this show could go, and I'm excited. Just from that logo alone, it looks super cool. I'm a huge fan of this character, and the concept of the show is completely blowing my mind, and that's why it is at this spot on this list. Next up is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Woo, this show, man. And what really got me to put this show this high up on this list is the return of Baron Zemo, the villain from Captain America Civil War. Now, I enjoyed his presence in that movie. Some people didn't. And one of the reasons some people did not is because it wasn't a very comic accurate representation of his character. But at the panel yesterday in Hall H, they announced that he would be returning with his ever so famous mask and probably his costume, and he will play the villain in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. And Anthony Mackie also came out and said he has tested in his version of the Captain America suit. He walked out with the shield. You're getting Bucky, you're getting everyone that you know and love, and a great showrunner, by the way, handling this show. It's in great hands. I think it's going to be monumental and awesome. Another show that I am just jacked for. All right, I'm just going to admit to you guys, these top four, I couldn't choose. I really couldn't choose. And the one that I'm about to talk about is one that I tweeted out a couple of months ago saying, you know what, this is probably my most anticipated movie. The only reason I'm not putting it higher is mostly because of the subtitles that came out yesterday, and then the casting announcements for all of those movies. They all kind of mixed together and placed them in the top three. But my number 4 movie by a sliver is ShangChi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. The Ten Rings, that's right, you've heard that name before. They are returning from not just the first Iron Man, right? While the panel was happening and Kevin Feige was talking yesterday, they were showing characters in other movies, such as Ant-Man, with the tattoos of the Ten Rings. So they have been spreading these seeds all throughout the MCU, seeds that maybe we didn't even know they existed, to build up the villain in this ShangChi movie, and the villain is the Mandarin. The Mandarin? You mean the Mandarin from Iron Man 3? No. This is not Ben Kingsley's version of the Mandarin. He was just playing a rip-off version in that movie. We know that now. And now I kind of look back at that movie and I go, you know what? Maybe ShangChi coming out could help a lot of the fan response for Iron Man 3, but we got an official casting of the Mandarin. We got an official casting for Shang-Chi, and the actor was completely jazzed. He was freaking out when he walked out on that stage. And the one that really intrigued me, the only actor/actress that I knew is a big-time star from that movie, Awkwafina, was cast in this film. So many incredible announcements. The director of photography is awesome. The guy worked on Spider-Man 2, so you know he's very good in terms of shot selection for a superhero movie, and the director is just a great director. This movie is in the best of hands. I think it's going to be an awesome Kung Fu style Marvel superhero film with incredible action, and I have a great feeling that this could be one of the better looking movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm hyped for it. I'm jazzed for it. I don't know how this movie could possibly be bad, but hey, I've been wrong before. Oh, why is this number 3? Listen, I freaked out when they announced the subtitle to this movie yesterday, and that is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And oh my goodness, my big question here, is Chiwetel Ejiofor returning to play Mordo? Could he be a villain? We don't know that he's going to be in the movie, but we do know who the main villain is going to be, and that is Nightmare. If you guys know anything about Nightmare, you know he is a horrifying villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we're like, okay, are they going to go the scary route? Well, sure enough, Scott Derrickson came out and confirmed that this is going to be the first official, and we know he comes from horror roots, scary movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I am psyched for this film, and they announced, like I said earlier, Scarlet Witch will be in this film, and WandaVision will tie in heavily to Doctor Strange 2. Could they be doing like a House of M kind of thing? We don't know what route they're going to go down. We don't know what comics they're going to tie it to, but Doctor Strange 2 has me completely and utterly just take my money now. Give me all of the visuals in the world, and the first horror film in the MCU? Yes, please. That's why it's number 3. Surprised it's not higher? Well, number 2 is The Eternals. You want to know the main reason why this is number 2? Let's read the cast here. Angelina Jolie, Richard Madden, okay, Kumail Nanjiani, yep, Lauren Ridloff, Brian Tyree Henry, Salma Hayek, Leah McHugh, and Dawn Lee, directed by Chloe Zhao. Chloe Zhao brought us The Rider last year, and I thought that was one of the most well-directed movies I've seen in quite a while. She is an incredible director. This cast, listen to the talent involved with the Eternals, and then you have the characters of Eternals, which are these almighty beings in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I have a very good feeling that they're going to pop up maybe 5 to 10 years down the line in an Avengers movie, helping out our heroes, maybe fighting our heroes, but probably helping them out in an all-out war versus someone, Galactus, Silver Surfer maybe? We don't know, but the Eternals is going to be a massive movie for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The scale here is going to be epic. The fight scenes, I have a feeling, are going to be grand. And the characters, that's the big thing. If the characters don't work, this movie falls completely flat. But with that talent, Jolie, Nanjiani, who is known for his comedic skills, but you know he can bring it, and then Richard Madden, who I kind of wanted for Batman originally, but when they said, hey, he might be in the Eternals, I'm like, yep, all right. Is he playing Icarus? Yep, he's playing Icarus. Guys, this cast is fantastic. I think the Eternals is going to blow a lot of people away. It's going to open so many doors for the MCU, and it has my blood pumping. You know what else has my blood pumping? Taika Waititi returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, directing the next Thor, and just barely over the Eternals is Thor, Love and Thunder. I just loved Ragnarok so much, and I have to be honest with you, the first time I watched it, I loved it. I didn't love it as much as I do now. It wasn't in my top 5 movies in the MCU, but if you're a fan of Ragnarok, I think you're going to be excited for this. Now, if you're not a fan of Ragnarok, there is also a chance that this may win you over because Waititi came out and said basically this is not going to be another Ragnarok. This is going to be a completely different movie, pulling from certain comic book storylines that bring in multiple characters in the MCU that people are fans of. First of all, we have Valkyrie returning, and her storyline seems like it's going to go in a very interesting route. We know now that she is the king of New Asgard. How is that going to factor in? We know Korg and Meek, amen, they're probably returning. But then the announcement came, and this kind of blew everybody away, that Natalie Portman was returning after multiple people had said, she's sick of the MCU. She's never coming back. Returning to the MCU to play Jane Foster. But not just Jane Foster, she is playing Thor, as she has been for the last couple of years in the comics. This is the female version of Thor. She will yield Mjolnir. And guys, it's looking like we're going to have two Thors in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Maybe she is even a more important character in this movie, because we know that Thor is probably not confirmed, but probably going to pop up in Guardians 3. So I assumed we would get Guardians 3 before Thor Love and Thunder, which is what we know it's called now. But Guardians 3, while it is coming, according to James Gunn on Twitter, he tweeted that out last night because a lot of people were concerned, like, hey, James, where's Guardians 3? That's coming. But because he's directing the Suicide Squad, we do not have an official release date for that. Other movies that we don't have official release dates for: Guardians 3, of course, Black Panther 2, Captain Marvel 2, Spider-Man 3, which is going to be announced by Sony, not Disney. That's why there were no announcements talked about at the panel yesterday. A brand new version of the X-Men talked about by Kevin Feige when he mentioned Mutants. Fantastic Four, that was officially announced as being into development. And then, of course, Blade, which does not have a release date, and it is most likely going to be a part of Phase 5. But guys, my number one most anticipated Marvel movie is Thor, Love and Thunder. The director, mixed with the talent, mixed with this storyline, mixed with Chris Hemsworth returning as this character. There are just so many different directions this could go in, and I have a strange feeling that this is going to be a completely different movie than Ragnarok, but it's still going to have that feel that Ragnarok had. I think that at the end of the day, that's going to win all of the fans over. But really, this list was such a difficult list to make. Just because my number one is my number one does not mean I'm not looking forward to my number 10. All of these films had me completely and utterly freaking out last night, and I am pumped to see what Phase 4 is going to deliver. If you guys have any ideas of what you want me to talk about specifically, let me know in those comments down below. I will make another video. If you enjoyed this most anticipated video, be sure to leave it a thumbs up. It really helps this channel out. And of course, comment which one movie has you the most excited, and which one movie you're like, I could pass, don't care as much. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. As always, you are the absolute best. I'll be back very soon with another Netflix review, and I'll catch you guys later.